And as I told you, uncertainty lingers over the implementation of the new curriculum, which was rolled out in January this year. With only 2 months remaining to the close of the year, the Kenya Publishers Association says they are yet to receive any guidelines to enable them produce materials required for grade 4 children under the new curriculum. And they say it's because of the absence of a curriculum design from KICD, and KICD CEO Dr. JULIUS JWAN now joins us live from Kisumu. Why is that so? Why is there a delay, and what will happen to these children? Do they revert to this old system 844?
Thank you, Hussein, for having me. Maybe I should explain one thing from the word go. If you remember, on the 3rd of January 2018, the then Cabinet Secretary explained very well that this year was going to be a year of pilot in pre-primary 1, pre-primary 2, grade 1 and grade 2.
Right.
So the pilot that we are conducting countrywide now is up to grade 2. In grade 3, we only have 250 schools that were used in the first pilot. Therefore, there's no crisis for grade 4 because the students who are doing pilot in grade 2 will move to grade 3. I think there has been a misconception in the papers and in the media that the pilot of the curriculum is going on up to grade 3, and that if there is a rollout next year, then it's up to grade 4. So I think that is a misconception.
What
so
happens?
No cause for alarm.
Right. So what happens to the children who are currently on pilot basis for grade 3, going to next year?
The 250 schools,
yes.
KICD will produce materials for them. Normally, remember, even when we did the first phase of the pilot, KICD produced materials. That is the process we normally go through, so that we produce sample materials so that once the pilot for grade 4 is done next year, then the publishers use our materials as samples of the materials they will be producing for the following year. So
Kenyans should not be worried, parents should not be worried, and publishers also are not part of this. That's what you're saying, in other words. You've also heard, I'm sure, about...
No, there's no worry. In fact...
Sorry, go ahead.
Sorry? No, there's no worry. This was planned quite well. That is why when we talked on the 1st of January 2018, we explained very well that the full pilot was going up to grade 2 and not up to grade 3. Grade 3 were few selected schools, and those schools will continue with the pilot for upper primary, whose dynamics are completely different from lower primary.
I'm sure you've heard, and you've seen pictures about books that could be inappropriate to the children, doing rounds, parents complaining about them, being referred to today as well by the Publishers Association. How are these books getting to classrooms with all the errors in them?
Thank you very much. I think this is something I really wanted to talk about. Osena could ask you the same question because we have been doing our analysis of all the books. We have been doing an analysis of books that we have approved in Kenya, and incidentally, we were shocked to find that some of the books and materials that are doing rounds on WhatsApp are from Egypt, from Ghana, from the US, and there were 1 or 2 books that we have not approved. I personally went up to River Road, Hussein, checked bookshops and bought some of the books that were alleged that were approved by KICD. If you go to KICD office, you will find them there. They are not approved. So I'm wondering where people are getting these things from and why they are posting on the social media. So what happens in the meantime? Do you believe that they are doing rounds in classrooms, and are you going to do anything about them? Plus, as you answer that, Dr. JWAN, concerns were raised earlier in the year. You actually gave a report as KICD about teachers training and how well prepared their teachers are. You talked about 57% being prepared, only 20% saying they are well prepared. And some actually comparing this with private schools, where it's being said private schools are taking teachers through training sessions several times, unlike public schools. So where are we generally, and do you think this is going to happen, and are teachers trained for this? Osen, let me start with the first question, that once books are approved by KICD, they are put in what we call the Orange Book. Now, parents and teachers are always advised that when they go to the bookshops, they only buy books that are in the Orange Book that are approved by KICD. They should never buy any book. Like the book I went and bought from River Road was going for 511 shillings, yet the book is not approved. Nobody should buy such a book. Now, coming to the training of teachers, please allow me to say that training of teachers is never an event, and I think I explained the same the last time we engaged. Training is a continuous process. We started this last year, if you remember. We have continued the same this year. Come November, going into December, TSC is leading a process of continuous professional development of the teachers. It will never end even when we roll out the new curriculum. The teacher mentorship and teacher support and teacher professional development will always be a continuous process.
Okay. Finally, you've talked about assessments in this new curriculum. Yes. Although there are complaints and concerns, there's still no framework for assessments or examinations as we know them currently. How long will that take? Yeah. Because it almost negates the whole system.
Hussein, if you remember, in the basic education curriculum framework, we have strongly recommended there won't be any summative examination or summative evaluation at the end of primary school, which is grade 6. We stated very clearly that at that age and at that level, children at that level should not be subjected to any summative evaluation that it dictates that somebody has failed or somebody has passed, because at that age, children don't even know what they have passed. Yeah. Now, what we have done, embedded in the textbooks, we have what we call rubrics that teachers are supposed to use as a guide for assessment of children. Now, on the larger scale, Kenya National Examinations Council has developed an assessment framework for the country. Now, this framework will come fully operational once the curriculum is developed up to grade 12. For now, they have developed a basic education curriculum assessment framework, and the components that refer to lower primary are well stated. This, by the time you will be rolling out the new curriculum, will be in schools. But as it were, what children need to do and teachers need to do are to use rubrics that are embedded within the books, which help them with formative assessment. That is assessing for learning, assessing so that you identify where children need support, and you as teachers help them improve in those areas. So there's no cause for alarm on that.
Although some say leaving it to their discretion leads to disparities. But I'm sure these are things that we'll be talking about in future. You only have in 2 months' time.
They are guided on this during our training process.
Okay, thank you so much. Dr. Julius JWAN, KICD CEO, and we'll be talking to him and engaging him in the days to come.